episode of Oregon Life.
Thanks for
Right?
watching this episode of
Oregon Life.
Hello, I'm Frank Caruso, producer of Oregon Life. We're back with part 2 of Adam and his journey of painting the extraordinary animals that he got to know at the Lincoln Park Zoo and how he immersed himself in his art really to create and develop his extraordinary gifts. And again, he wouldn't say that of himself, but I am, because they are. And I'm proud to bring this to you as our last episode. Stay tuned at the end to see what's coming up in the year 2024. It's been a great journey this year and the past years, and we are very thankful. Again, we are very thankful for the generous contributions of Tour Horse Insurance. Tour Horse Insurance is more than a sponsor of Oregon Life. Tour Horse, like OCAmedia, has celebrated our community for over 45 years, fulfilling their insurance needs. Through their generous contributions, Tour Horse Insurance has been a wonderful partner to OCAmedia, making it possible for us to produce episodes like Greenhaven Gardens, Keene Garlic, and highlighting the best of Oregon and surrounding areas. And that includes this episode.
The first painting I did with my friends when we did that wine and painting evening was of a green Arasari. And as you can see, there's no real understanding of technique to speak of. The color mixing is not much going on there, but I fell in love with it, and I continued. After about a year had passed, I decided to re-examine this painting just to see how far I'd come, to kind of compare what I had learned. And the end result was this, and definitely some progress. This was a while ago, so my technique and concepts, my way of exploring the subject matter has changed since this, but it was a fun little undertaking to kind of be able to compare. Late 2017 that I applied to my first art show. I came across a listing for a category in the Madison's Art Fair on the Square for the emerging artist. And I didn't really know if I should apply. I didn't know if I was there yet, if I had enough of a body of work to kind of take that lunge or take that plunge. But my wife said, you got to do this. You got to try. You got to see what happens. And so I did. I got accepted. I hurried to get together all of the stuff that you need to put on an art show. You need your tent, you need your display walls to hang things on, all of the little stuff that hanging your art, all that stuff that comes with it. I had to figure out producing prints. And there's an amazing print shop we have here in Madison called Picture Salon on Odana Road that is just, they work with artists all over the country. And top of the line, top quality work that they do. And so have a strong relationship with them, and that show was great. After I was accepted into the Art Fair on the Square as an emerging artist, the Isthmus reached out to me, and they had one of their reporters come and interview me and publish a piece on me. I was holding, the picture they used was me holding my large cassowary painting, which I had with me for that show. And I think that created a lot of awareness of what I was doing, at least in people that read the Isthmus and are enthusiastic about art. And so I had a lot of people come, and it blew me away. Like, I still remember my first sale of an original painting, and that feeling of like, people are buying things that I made, like it was so foreign to me. It was so exciting. It was so different. The first painting I sold was a tiny little emperor tamarin from my primate series. And from there, I knew this was what I was going to do. I've added more and more shows every year. I do shows all over Wisconsin now. I do Wausau, Appleton, Sheboygan, Art Street in Green Bay. Oregon had their first show this year, and it was fantastic. I had a great time and had a great show. The Agora Art Fair here in Fitchburg, Art Fair on the Square, Spring Green, and a few others. I even branched out and did a reptile breeders convention in Tinley Park, Illinois, and it's the biggest reptile breeders convention in the world. It draws something like 700 vendors, and people travel from all over the world to come to this. And I figured, hey, maybe some people will want to take home some lizard paintings, and that was great for me for a while. Since having the birth of my second child, I've decided to kind of keep things in Wisconsin for a while. But it was wonderful to connect with people that are so passionate about these animals that I have a lot of work that represents them. Something that I am now exploring and trying to inject more into my work is symbolism. And not just these animals are beautiful, look at these textures and details and look at the power, the intelligence, the character, but what can animals show us about ourselves? What does observing an animal, observing their life cycle, observing their behaviors, how can that help you organize your life or organize your thoughts, your feelings? And this is something I'm bringing more to my work, and it's challenging to do that, but the way for me to do it is I had this epiphany looking at Van Gogh's Starry Night, and it just hit me, I realized he's not painting a starry night as he sees it. He's painting a starry night as he feels it. What does that make him feel to look up at the sky at night? And I was like, that's it right there. That's that alchemical gold to bring to the artistic process. And so these more symbolic pieces with these elements that are not strictly natural or literal, it's bringing the feeling out more. It's, and being an artist, part of the creative journey is it's an opening of your heart. It's, the flower bud that opens and becomes the full flower. And there's a lot of petals. It takes a lot of time. There's a lot of steps in that journey. But this is my next petal, my next step. And so I'm introducing new visual elements. I have story. I have things to say about pieces that I think goes much further. It's richer. It's sort of mythopoetic in a way. The first painting I did in this sort of more symbolic style was a piece that I titled Skyfather. It's a painting of a knobbed hornbill, and a knobbed hornbill is a bird. It's very large. Well, I'm trying to think of a good comparison. It's maybe a little bit bigger than a bald eagle. And they have this very long bill. They're very impressive birds. They're just gorgeous. Their colors, their patterns. And when I worked at the zoo, we had a different species of hornbill called the Blythe's Papuan hornbill. And I was fortunate enough to be working in the birdhouse when they were going into their breeding season. And they're endangered, and so the zoo was breeding these birds with the idea of propagating the species. And so their breeding pattern is very interesting. So what they'll do is the male and female will find a tree with an empty cavity, and they'll build a nest together inside. And then the male seals the female inside the tree. He builds a seal of mostly mud and debris with a little hole in the middle so that he can feed her through it. She lays the egg, sits with the egg until the chick is big enough to fly on its own. And then the male and female will break the seal together so that the female and the chick can come out. And the chick experiences the jungle for the first time. And what really hit me watching these birds going through this mating cycle was this male is feeding 3 birds by himself. He's facing the dangers of the jungle by himself. And not only is he doing that, he is sacrificing the most nutrient-rich bits of food to give to the female. And so I painted this piece shortly after I became a father for the first time, because there was something that was, that really struck a chord with me, this story of hornbills. And I had painted hornbills before in my usual style, but there was something more I wanted to show with this, in like what these birds mean to me and my role as a father, because fathers provide for their families in a lot of different ways. It's not just, financial or whatever. There's a lot of ways that we give ourselves to our spouses, to our children. And I couldn't think of any better animal to represent this relationship to our family than a hornbill. Every artist experiences some form of adversity in their journey, whether it's, is this work good enough? Who's going to buy this? Am I delivering a message to people that is worthwhile, that is moving lives and feelings and experience forward in some sort of meaningful way? And I remember there was a time that I was struggling with this, and I was sitting outside under a large maple tree and just having a moment to just kind of reflect. And there was this vision that came over me, not my imagination, because I definitely know the difference, and it was me at a show inside my booth, inside my display, and everything is sort of grayscale and indistinct, but I'm looking at the walls of my display. I'm standing in the center of my tent, and there's people observing my work. And what I see, the only color that I see, is this like brilliant red ray of energy that comes from my heart, moves into my paintings, multiple paintings, bounces off those paintings and comes in to the people observing them, through their head down into their heart, and this energy circles through. And it was sort of a reminder for me that, we all hold so much in our hearts, so much that we love, that we're passionate about. And that's really what art is about, is you never know what's going to resonate that you have going on within yourself, what's going to resonate with someone else. And it's almost a duty as someone that picks up a creative undertaking, whatever it is, to share this. Like if you have developed a craft, if you have something that you can express yourself with, how else is humanity going to progress out of chaos and whatever else is haunting us? Like we need people that have a song in their heart to sing that song. And that moment really kind of, whenever I struggle with anything, I think back to that, and it gives me a resurgence of energy and dedication to keep moving forward. Thanks for watching this episode of Oregon Life.
watching this episode of Oregon Life.
Thanks for
Right?
watching this episode
Episode of Oregon Life.